Kuzusampo and welcome to Bhutan This Week, our weekly news magazine program with me, Sundar Magalsi. This week's top stories. His Majesty the King inspects the area damaged by the Solan River in Sarbang. Bhutan temporarily bans the import of chilies. And opposition demands the government introduce revision of upper tax slab. His Majesty the King met with the shopkeepers in Sarbang, whose shops were washed away by flood, and inspected the areas damaged. His Majesty also met with the Dzongkhag officials and others involved in the relief efforts.
Due to heavy rain over the past few days, the Sarbang River broke its banks and gradually swept away the shops of the roadside market. Upon receiving royal command, a relief team comprising of Royal Bhutan Army personnel, police, government officials and desups, joined by the local volunteers, began relief work immediately to evacuate the entire market. The shopkeepers and their families are safe, and food and shelter have been provided for those affected. The relief team continues to monitor the situation. The Royal Bhutan Armed Forces and the relevant government agencies are on high alert across the southern belt. In the evening, His Majesty visited areas along the Mao River in Gelifu to assess the damages and risks posed to structures in the area. A water treatment plant which supplies water to the Gelifu Thomde is among the structures along the river which would be affected by rising levels. His Majesty arrived in Gelifu yesterday. Sangi Chozom for BBS News.
More than 1,000 devotees gathered to receive blessings from His Holiness the Jekhempo in Sirang as His Holiness administered Guru Dramawang. His Holiness also presided over a 5-day-long annual Melam Chemo in Sirang, which ended on Thursday. Prime Minister Sring Tobge met with the victims of the recent flood in Sarbang. Consoling them, Lenchen asked the 60 shop owners not to be disheartened by the disaster, but feel blessed that no human lives were lost and their belongings were evacuated to safer grounds before the flood struck. Prime Minister added, to rebuild their lives, the government, in consultation with the Dzongkhag administration, will look at providing them space in the new town area. At present, the affected shop owners are living in the town's vegetable shed. The Bhutan Agriculture and Food Regulatory Authority temporarily bans the import of chilies in the country. BAFRA had sent 3 varieties of imported chilies to India for laboratory testing and found pesticides in it. The laboratory report revealed the presence of pesticides which are moderately toxic and its use is not permitted in the country. The test was conducted in May this year. The BAFRA officials will strictly monitor the implementation of the ban across the country. Farmers of Langthil and Dratinggyok in Trongsa are facing a difficult time in marketing chili, their main cash crop this season. The roadblock at Dzongkhalum along the Trongsa-Jemgang highway remains blocked for 3rd week now, hampering transportation of the spice.
Normally by mid-June, chili from Langthil and Dratinggyok hit the market, and by this time, the sale is at its peak.
There
is no question of selling chili in the village because everyone grows it. I cultivated chili in a 15 decimal land, and although the harvest was good, there is no market. Earlier, we used to sell in Trongsa, but due to the roadblock, we are not able to do so. It is rotting in the fields. We tried drying, but couldn't because of the rain.
Earlier, when there was no roadblock, there used to be a bus service to Trongsa. And for almost a decade, we used that to transport our produce. But today, due to the block, the service is stopped.
In an effort to save their hard-labored harvest, some of them even started to dry chili using fire. Farmers said, although light vehicles with high clearance take the alternate route through a tunnel to get across the block, they say hiring them is inconvenient. Apart from high charges, such vehicles are also not readily available for hire in their locality. Moreover, vehicles are allowed to pass through the tunnel only twice in a day. On the other hand, with a ban on import of chili, the Dzongkhag agriculture sector hopes the problem will be addressed soon. Big Indian companies working with Mangdichu hydroelectric project have already started to buy local chili. Compiled for Sujaman Thapa in Trongsa, Sonam Hamu for PBS News.
The recent downpour has affected farmers who market vegetables to Phuntsling and Gelifu. Due to heavy rainfall and several roadblocks, farmers were forced to sell vegetables at a lower price at the Centenary Farmers Market in the capital.
At this time of the year, most farmers from Wangdi, Paro, Punakha district and nearby areas bring their farm produce to the Centenary Farmers Market. Some even market vegetables to places as far as Phuntsling and Gelifu. But this time, because of heavy monsoon and several roadblocks, farmers had no choice but to sell vegetables at a lower price in the capital. Farmers therefore say their hard work has not been paid full.
Earlier, we used to take our vegetables directly to Phuntsling and sell there at 600 to 900 Newton per sack. Since landslides have blocked the roads, vegetables are getting rotten in the field. But when we bring it to Thimpu, we have to sell it at Newton 200 per sack. Price is never going up since there are more sellers than buyers.
We undergo a lot of hardship to grow the vegetable back at our home, and I feel sad when we are not being able to sell it here. Usually people come from Tsirang, Gelifu and Phuntsling to buy our vegetables, and we used to get a better price. But this time, due to roadblocks, the vegetable price was not good since our regular local vegetable vendor are buying our vegetables.
Last time I bought chili at a cheaper rate and could make some profit as the price was good. But this time I suffered loss. The price of the chili is very low and people are not willing to buy even at 30 Newton per kg.
Some vendors tell us to sell our products even at 100 to 200 Newton per sack. But we work hard to bring our vegetables here, and when the price is not good, we feel disheartened and demotivated. This is only our cash crop, and we are worried about our livelihood if the situation does not improve.
Some farmers said rather than letting it rot in the field, they have decided to sell their vegetables at a much lower price. The recent downpour and roadblocks has, however, not led to vegetable price hike at the Centenary Farmers Market in the capital. Chengadoji for BBS News.
Health officials are concerned that there are risks of outbreak of waterborne diseases like diarrhea and typhoid with incessant rain. They said it is likely people will get waterborne diseases at this time of the year if people do not maintain proper hygiene and sanitation.
Due to heavy downpour and floods in the southern belt of the country, waterborne diseases such as diarrhea and typhoid are apparent to occur.
Our health workers, what we encourage them is to keep vigilant. Any outbreaks, I think they should be able to know. And also it's important for the public to report any outbreaks, any diseases they suffer. I think they should report to the nearest health center. And our health workers also should be vigilant, and so that they should be able to detect as early as possible, so that the disease is controlled before it spreads to the general community.
Floods also contaminate water sources. People are advised to drink boiled water, and if people could afford, mineral water is recommended. After the rainfall has subsided, people also become prone to mosquito-related diseases like malaria and dengue.
Maybe because of shortage of water, especially in the southern districts, they must be storing water. Okay? So I think they should store water in closed containers. Because open container, there's chances of these vectors, and there's some organisms, which can breed there, especially mosquito-borne diseases, So they can breed in this water which are stored for a long time. So they should always store the water, keep it covered.
With rain showing no sign to stop, people are asked to follow these advices. Sangisha Zom for BBS News.
Gelifu Tromde resumed its water supply from the water treatment plant along the Mau River bank. The Tromde restored the plant with support from army, police personnel, forest official, Desubs and scouts. Following the continuous downpour in the recent days, the Mau River had flooded the plant, forcing Tromde to discontinue water supply to almost 80% of the residents. The flood left behind debris and other deposits, which took about 4 days for the volunteers to clean. Members of the opposition are demanding the government to introduce revision of upper tax slab in the upcoming session. In a press conference, members of opposition said the government did not support their proposal to revise tax rate from 25% to 30% for their self-interest. The opposition said they put forth the proposal to bridge the income gap between the rich and the poor.
lembo henge disugi nyuhodi bumchida tongta sumchiri shebime te lenchengi thegabda bumchida tongta gepchu yula tenga chigi zichap tawdalu te gadem jibe saya chile yenchegi disulu te jacha sumchure zodabashin lembo henge da te lenchen disudi teribari digi cheishinalu podo yukme se te dare rakungdinga chegi shechi se shunila lembo disugi te kaara toptang nyuhoda shen toptan su jiwagala yupchi bum kechi bamichi topnyeme te lenchengidi bum kechi din bamichi topmela te tedi jacha sumchugu chejidi sendawachin konsulu teribari te bombe tegobigi te netanglu tunidigi te che yarsengi dedin tangba mafi niba japchur manamigi nedindi te anibe te ngachigi shechi se shunila.
Meteorologists say recent heavy rain was caused by a shift in the monsoon trough from the Bay of Bengal to southern parts of the Himalayas. Monsoon trough is the low-pressure region which receives the highest amount of monsoon rains. It usually falls in the Bay of Bengal. Bhutan last experienced heavy rain in July 2007.
Expert the forecast from the office. So the weather for next couple of days, tomorrow and day after tomorrow, we are expecting some light to any moderate rainfall still in the southern belt, but not that heavy as that was recorded in the past. So, but however, as of now, the forecast shows that on the 29th, starting from again 29th of July, again there is some kind of moderate to heavy rainfall is being forecasted, but that is subject to change with respect. And we always update this information gets updated as the day progresses. So, but sometimes it intensifies, sometimes it is now, you can say that it is weakening also that system.
The need for a spacious bus terminal in Thimphu is felt more than ever now, but it will take another year or two for the city to get this issue addressed. Thimphu Thomde and the 30 landowners of the new site are yet to see eye to eye regarding the price of the land.
"6:30 a.m. and Lunthesamba bus terminal is crowded with buses, taxis, private cars and people. But neither this scene is new nor frustrations of the people.
Due to the traffic jam here, we cannot move on time. Passengers are not happy when we don't reach the destination on time.
Traffic police do not allow taxis into the bus parking, but passengers with lots of luggage insist us to drop them near the buses. The traffic police warn we will be fined if we enter into the bus parking. Therefore, I think it is high time a larger bus terminal comes in place.
Thimphu Thomde identified an area next to the automobile workshop in Olaka for a new bus terminal more than a decade ago. But since the land belongs to private individuals, the office has not been able to negotiate with the landowners. The landowners demand over 300,000 ngitam per decimal, while the Thomde wants to settle for 100,000 ngitam per decimal.
So we have to look at innovative solutions to the problem, and then we have to maybe look at even public-private partnership to work on. We are trying our best to materialize this within next 1 to 2 years. So by 2017, let's hope that something concrete materializes. But we have already started thinking of all these plans.
Meanwhile, back in Luntensampa bus terminal, there is no space to develop further. The only thing that could possibly develop is the frustration in the people. Kipchu, BVS News.
Lingjizong will be completely rebuilt to a new one during the 12th five-year plan period. Prime Minister announced this during his recent visit to Lingji-gyeok under Thimphu. The rebuilding works, according to the Prime Minister, will begin during the first phase of the 12th five-year plan.
After the 2011 earthquake, Lingjizong was severely damaged, and today this is the situation of the very historic Lingjizong. Following the earthquake, the Tatsa, consisting of 30 monks, was shifted to another place. The monks currently live in the Gyeok office, while the relics are kept in the basic health unit. Prime Minister Sring Tobge, while meeting the people, expressed the need to rebuild the zone. Prime Minister also visited the site where the current zone stands in ruins.
Lingjizong renovation could never be a successful one. It has been discussed since 9th five-year plan. We have kept some amount for the renovation, but I feel that instead of renovating it, we should completely build a new one. Though I didn't visit the zone in the past, I have seen many pictures of it.
Linji Lam, however, requested the Prime Minister to start the construction works immediately.
We requested the Prime Minister to begin the preparation works from this year only if the fund is available. If we start the timber and stone works from now, by the time of 12th five-year plan, materials for the construction will be ready. Prime Minister accepted our plea, but I am not sure about the outcome.
Starting the construction works immediately might hamper the quality, which cannot be compromised, according to the Prime Minister. Moreover, a 15-kilometer ropeway has to be installed to transport materials. The third DC Choge Minju Temple built the existing Linji zone in 1668. The zone was first built in 1222, but it was later rebuilt by Shabrungao Namge in 1647. Sonam Penjo, BBS News.
Tirelessly toiling the persistent rain and with no nervous sighs, Bhutan Army and volunteers carried 350 oxygen cylinders on their back across the roadblock at Kamji in Chukha. This act of selflessness helped the patients at the National Referral Hospital.
Army personnel and volunteers carried the cylinders, each weighing 65 kilograms, across the block side. And it was not an easy job when there is no proper place to walk. 2 trucks transporting the cylinders were stuck at Kamji after some portion of Thimphu-Phinsiling highway was washed away. It led to an acute shortage of filled oxygen cylinder supply in the National Referral Hospital. The hospital conducted only emergency operations and used stock from Paro, Punakha and Gidagom.
The Katale Yupchilam, the Tenyon Seno Bebe, the Malay Numkotak Ni.
Yesterday, we thought the roadblocks will be cleared. So 2 trucks carrying 200 D-type and 150 D-type oxygen cylinders started the journey to Thimphu. But when they reached Kamji, we came to know that the blocks cannot be cleared as planned. So His Majesty commanded the army to help transport the oxygen cylinders. Prime Minister was also present at the site, personally monitoring the process.
The trucks arrived at the National Referral Hospital at 3:30 a.m. today.
Deregi Tusegalu chap Sadusukara Jita
In difficult times like this, when there are landslides and boulders falling constantly due to heavy rainfall, the armies worked hard, relentlessly, carrying the heavy cylinders on their back from one end of the roadblock to the other. They risked their lives for us, and we are grateful and proud of their effort.
Solo mahama that pagi garinale tundi su tempogi katuke that ani beudalo ngachiri katule didi the namseme konlo ichegobe sunela.
Health Minister said with all the vital and essential medicines distributed prior to roadblocks, there will be no shortages of medicines in any health facilities in the country. Sangisha Zom for BBS News.
Increasing incidences of hepatitis is a major challenge for the Health Ministry today. It is due to lack of awareness and advocacy programs on this viral infection among the general public. And as Bhutan observed the World Hepatitis Day for the first time, the Health Ministry committed towards addressing these issues.
Apart from health workers, Health Minister said, general public have no comprehensive knowledge about hepatitis. Hepatitis is a viral infection that attacks the liver.
Misegi namesemechi mishivela. Miseglu namesemechi mashi tetalen miselu yuenteda tetalen.
People have little knowledge about hepatitis. It is partly because we are not able to advocate properly. It is important to create awareness and educate people because in the long run, it might affect the nation as a whole.
With financial support and expertise from the World Health Organization, the Health Ministry will emphasize on different awareness and advocacy programs.
Hepatitis D githolebe ngachigi kota pemasomide that hemagi nyamyongda.
We couldn't advocate people on hepatitis because we were worried people might panic or dread and not come to get tested or for medication like they did with HIV initially. But today, looking at the situation of HIV, people's perception has changed because of extensive advocacy program.
The Health Ministry will carry out a nationwide hepatitis zero prevalence study by end of this year. For now, the latest health facility-based data on hepatitis B, recorded from 2012 to 2014, show hepatitis B prevalence is between 2 and 2.5% in general public. For Sonam Chodin, Gilyongdan for BBS News.
Well, that's all we have for you this week. Thank you for joining us. Have a great weekend.